I am a man of honor, integrity, and promise. I pursue all righteousness. I love my family. I will not put my family in harm's way. There is nothing that will keep me from doing the right thing. I am an ambassador of hope and a man of discipline. I am a man worth following. I am a TYRO.
Hello everyone, welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Kathy TYRO. And we thank you for joining us today on TYRO TV. For those of you who don't know who we are, Ron did 15 years in the system. Well, the boys and I on the outside did that time with him. And instead of tearing our family apart, we actually used that time to discover the secrets of what it would take to become a healthy, thriving family. And those are the things that we want to share with you.
So out of our 15 years experience, we were able to write a book called High Five, Love Never Fails. And we put those precepts and those principles in this book. And we know that if they can help us, they can help you.
So the last several weeks, we've been sharing with you information about those principles. The high five, friendship, faithfulness, forgiveness, fairness, and fortitude. And so today, we're going to talk to you about forgiveness, probably one of the most important of the high fives.
You know, forgiveness is key. Like all the other principles, but it's key to growing and moving forward. And the first person you got to forgive is you. And that's a tough one because we walk around in prison with this, and I'm not going to say, it's not a self-pity attitude, but more of guilt and regret. And if we can help you overcome that and allow that experience that you're having, because guilt is supposed to have its place and to be in a state of regret, but it's when you live there constantly that you go from guilt and regret into this place called bitterness. And we want to help you not stay there so you can overcome that.
And we hear often from people, well, you know what? Well, time will heal all wounds. But that's not necessarily true. Because if over the course of time we focus on that bitterness and we focus on that unforgiveness, that time is not going to heal that wound. It's going to solidify that scar in our hearts. And so we want to talk today about what you need to do to be able to live in forgiveness instead of living in regret and living in bitterness.
You know, there's this great saying that we've heard called, don't heal the wound lightly. And Kathy, if you don't mind, can you just talk a little bit? What does that look like and what does that mean?
Sometimes we're in such a rush or a hurry to restore a relationship or to just get beyond it. We don't really want to deal with it. So what we do is we just say, somebody says, you know what, I'm sorry. And we say, yeah, it's okay, no problem, no problem. But the truth is the wound was so deep that the scar is so deep. And we just don't want to deal with it that moment. Well, we go on. And so it's just like when you have a sore and if it just heals a little bit over the surface and closes up, but it's all pussy and sore and it festers inside. The same thing happens with hurts and wounds that are quote unquote healed lightly, that we just deal with flippantly and we say, nah, no big deal, no problem. Well, then we go on with our life and it continues to cause us problems and then we become the problem and we begin to cause pain to other people.
And so fellas, it's like when we know we messed up, when we made a mistake and we maybe said something or even did something to hurt our wife or hurt the people that we love, and we come in there and say, sorry, and we expect it to be all okay. And in fact, if your wife is anything like my wife, she's going to want to talk about it. But I just said, I'm sorry. Let's move on. You know. But I know Kathy, and that she wants to talk about it. So yes, I would say I'm sorry, and even though I still want to just move on, but I also know, because I love her, that I want to stop and say, listen, I know I'm saying I'm sorry, but if you want to talk about it and you want to look at it so it doesn't happen again, so I'm more mindful, more conscious that what I'm about to do, is it going to hurt you or is it going to cause discourse between us, that I'm willing to look at it so I don't do it again.
And it's human nature to want to quickly get beyond something. I mean, that's just part of being human. It's like, okay, well, let's just move beyond it. The further I get away from it, the better I'm going to feel. But that's not true when it comes to things that hurt us emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Those things, or even physically. We carry those wounds with us deep inside of our hearts until we get to a place of really finding forgiveness, really offering forgiveness and accepting forgiveness. And so today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how to actually go on that journey of forgiveness, how to come to a place of forgiving yourself, how to operate and live in forgiveness, and how that's going to build your family strength, your family stronger
Yep.
and give you the strength that you need to overcome everything that you're going to encounter.
You know, living in forgiveness is something that we practice every day, because if anybody has a right to be angry or bitter or to say it's not fair, you know, it was us. But we had to come to a place and of where, you know, we don't want to live in that state of bitterness. You know, we wanted not to be bitter but better. And so when we come back, we're going to talk more about that and see if we can really connect the dots for you and help you understand these 5 principles that we're talking about in the next coming weeks and what we've talked about earlier in the past. So stay tuned.
Playing catch, basketball, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. These are all normal things on the outside, but many times are missed in a visitation setting. TYRO Dads brings the same fun experience to the inside through Family Days. As a TYRO Dad, you have the opportunity to participate in this fantastic event. Family Day is designed to allow fathers and families to engage with each other through activities designed to stimulate communication, learning, and play. Family Days will not only be a highlight for you, but for your children as well. The Ridge Project has strategically developed Family Day as an opportunity to help you connect with your child throughout your separation and help both of you develop skills to continue building your relationship when you return home.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Kathy TYRO.
And I'm Ron TYRO.
And today we're talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the 5 secrets, the 5 principles in our book, High Five, Love Never Fails, that helped us overcome 15 years of incarceration. And so as we talk about forgiveness today, we really want to make sure that you understand the importance of this secret and this principle being unleashed in your life so that you can become successful.
You know, for me and my experience that I was having while you was home raising Blake and Brandon, I had to come to grips with what is forgiveness, you know, and because I was becoming bitter. You know, here I am, wrongly accused, and I had every right to scream out, it's not fair, this isn't right, what am I doing here? But I had to come to terms with, wait a minute, I've wronged people, I've wronged you. And so when I came to the place in my journey where I could either stay bitter or I could become better, that was a conscious choice I had to make. You know, and maybe some of you don't even really understand what the definition of forgiveness is. And so the definition of forgiveness is the ability to move beyond the offense from others and experience the freedom that comes from releasing others for the larger purpose of family strength. So what I came to understand out of that definition, and as I began to really make it part of my walk, that my walk had to line up with my talk. I could say I forgive somebody for whatever, but if I didn't really have that in here, then I was just talking. My walk wasn't lining up with my talk, and I realized this is a choice.
Right.
It's a choice to forgive and to be forgiven.
And the choice, I mean, to talk personally, the choice that you made, Ron, the choice that Ron made to forgive in order to build strength within our family. If you had not made that decision, if you had not made that choice, I don't know where we would be at today, because we could not continue on that journey of bitterness and frustration and anger and have any joy and have any hope or any foundation. And so by making that choice to forgive, specifically so that we could be not only healthy and whole, but so that our family could survive and thrive, was pivotal.
Well, it was a release. Once I began really manifesting or really exuberating forgiveness, you know, what else was stopping me now? I could breathe. I was able to sleep at night.
Freedom.
Yeah, I experienced a different type of freedom that other people couldn't understand. Why are you walking around this yard with a smile on your face? I said, because I'm free to forgive, not only the things that I have done in life. When we talk about the people that we wronged. Kathy, I wronged you. I wronged Blake and Brandon. I stole innocence from my sons. Here they are, 5 years old, 4 and 5 years old, coming to prison. And guys, listen, let me tell you what innocence looks like that we steal from our kids. Your 5-year-old child knows what a correction officer is. That's robbing your children of innocence. There's no way in life a child is supposed to have in the vocabulary prison. This is what we've done as fathers. When we talk about we've wronged somebody, we've wronged our children, and we didn't talk. I met my little girl. Part of our story, guys, is that, I was released from prison, and in a period of my incarceration, like after doing 11 years, I was released, and then I had to go back in. They gave me a week to turn myself back in. So 6 months later, Kathy's 3 months pregnant, and I go back into prison. I met my little girl in a prison visiting room. Man, and I'm screaming, no, this is not going to happen. But now I'm stealing innocence from another child. She's 1 year old, and she calls prison the gates, and this is the consequences, because we weren't living above reproach. We weren't living like men worth following. We're not being taken at our word, because we're wronging people every day of our lives because we're selfish. We're narcissists. So gentlemen, if you think you're totally innocent, that isn't true. If you think somebody wronged you, you reap what you sow. Well, guys, the saying is, what comes around goes around. So forgiveness, as you begin to really implement that in your life, and you look to your children and you ask them, please forgive me. Forgive me for letting you down, for not being the father you called me to be, that I knew I should have been. But I was the guy Friday night looking for love in all the wrong places instead of home tucking my children in. And have to reap that, have to see that. And now,
right. And the other side of the coin is that really, truly, life is not fair. And so I am confident that there are things that have happened to each of you, just that there are things that have happened to us that are wrong, things that we didn't deserve. But even in that you have to find the place that you are offering forgiveness for yourself. It doesn't matter how the person that offended you or hurt you responds to that. They may continue on in denial. They may continue on in being hurtful, and they may not accept your forgiveness. But you have to find within you the ability to live in peace. And because in that peace, choose to grow and flourish in spite of those circumstances. And I think that was one of the places that we really had to come to, is understanding life isn't fair, but we still have to find in us the ability to forgive.
There's a saying out there that says, you made your bed, now you got to lie in it. You know what? And I was hit with that one, but I had to come to a place, Kathy and I had to come to a place, okay, you know what? We're going to take up our bed and we're going to walk. We're not going to do this bed, okay, this lifestyle, this event that is taking place in our life, it didn't happen overnight. Right. Choices that we were making led up to this point in our life where we couldn't be taken at our word.
Right. And so as we come back, we're going to share more about forgiveness and what that means in your relationship with your spouse or your significant other. So stay tuned.
Completion of TYRO Dads is just the beginning of the opportunities available to you. As a TYRO Dad, you will be eligible to participate in workforce strengthening services to help prepare you for employment and open the doors to economic stability for you and your family. The workforce strengthening program starts with job ethics training. Once completed, you may be eligible to receive training to acquire your commercial driver's license while still inside prison. If getting a CDL is not for you, then there is also a welding training program you may be eligible for. As more programs are being added, there really is something for almost everyone.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Kathy TYRO. And today we're talking about forgiveness and the power of forgiveness in healing relationships and causing your family to grow stronger.
I remember visits. And I could not say I'm sorry enough. I couldn't, I thought it got to the place of where, does she even believe I'm saying I'm sorry because I mean it from my heart? Or is it now something that I've said over and over again that it's like, just running off your back. It's not, you already said it too many times. It doesn't have no meaning.
Because before Ron went to prison, the words he would never say were, I am sorry, or I am wrong, or please forgive me. It was always all about him. So even if he was wrong, he would just say, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And that was supposed to have meant to, just, okay, let's move beyond it. but it left all kinds of wounds and hurts. So as Ron made the conscious decision to actually move into a place of asking for forgiveness, then I found myself, I mean, initially, and this is hard to admit, initially it was like, well, you know, maybe he doesn't deserve to be forgiven. So he's saying he's sorry now, but was he really sorry? And then I had to find, like, okay, inside of me, I need to forgive. And so it began with the forgiveness between us and in our relationship, and then it made it easy to forgive other people outside of our relationship.
But here's one that was really always tripped me up. When I would tell Kathy, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and Kathy would say, for what? What are you sorry for? And so now, okay, so now I got to think, okay, I'm saying I'm sorry, but what am I sorry for? And I would really have to, okay, I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to, you know what, I'm sorry I didn't respect you by calling you out your name, by calling you something that wasn't who you were.
It started out with, I'm sorry I made you angry.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
but what made me angry? I don't know, but I'm sorry you're angry. And then it went to, okay, this is what
But
happened.
I really had to come in tune with, okay, I need to put some words to this.
Right.
You know, I can't just say it to be saying it. I got to build a house with this thing.
Right.
And so practice makes permanent, guys. And so if you practice this and you really start to form this relationship, because you're building a new trust, you're building a new bridge between the two of you, and this is how it begins, by saying, I'm sorry, and not waiting. Now, the thing too with me was, okay, now I said I'm sorry, now it's your turn. Right?
That's right. That's
So,
right.
but I
because forgiveness cannot be conditional. You know, asking for forgiveness or offering forgiveness cannot be based upon the condition of how the other person is going to respond. Because then what happens is you're again giving power to somebody else to have power over you and your life and your condition of healthiness and freedom, or being imprisoned by that unforgiveness.
And then what really was the icing on the cake, when I would ask Kathy to please forgive me, and she would in response say, not only do I forgive you, but I release you. And I knew then, we've now given each other permission, let's move on.
And we've had to, you know, in this specific circumstance, and I'm talking about imprisonment and incarceration, you have so many places of pain and so many places of feeling that people have done you wrong. And I know when Ron came home for those 6 months, and I'm 3 months pregnant, and Ron had to go back to prison, it's because someone in the accuser's family fought his release, and that caused them to overturn his release, and he went back. And so all of this anger rose up inside of me, and I realized, you know, I have to do something different. And I remembered the very first journey that I took to forgiveness, because when Ron took me back to, okay, I have to go around this mountain again. When Ron first went to prison, we had gone on a prison visit, and I was so angry all the time. I mean, how dare they do this to us? And they've ruined my life, and they've ruined my children's life. And so we went on a visit, we come home from a visit, and Brandon is sitting in the chair that was Ron's, and he's got a blanket all tucked in, he's got his face up against the back of the chair, and he's laughing and talking. How come I say, Brandon, what are you doing? And he says, I'm pretending that Daddy's home, and I'm sitting on his lap, and we're having so much fun, Mommy, that we don't have time to be angry. I was like, oh my gosh, it just like struck me that I have been so busy being angry, I didn't have any time to be happy. And I just, at that point is when I made the decision, you know what? I cannot continue to raise my children steeped in bitterness and anger. I have to teach them forgiveness. And so that's the point that I came to.
You know, and the point that I came to was the state, and guys, you can see this in some of the men that you're living with. They're in a state of, I wish, I shoulda, coulda, would've. And they're living in a state of regret. And when I was seeing this in me, where, you know, started to really beat myself up all the time, if only I had done this, if only this would have happened, you know, and just constantly hitting myself with the things I didn't do, I came to a point, I'm not going to live like this. I'm not going to live in a state of regret. I have to come to a place of forgiveness, because fellas, you know, men in prison who constantly stay in the hole, who are always getting in trouble. They haven't adapted. Well, what it is this inner battle that they're having of guilt and regret. They haven't forgiven themselves yet. And so it comes out in violence. It comes out in not being able to follow the rules or doing things, and you know what I'm talking about, when you join a gang in there and you're hurting each other because you're really hurting inside. And so hurting people hurt people.
And so the importance we cannot stress enough of finding forgiveness inside of you and then operating in that with your spouse and your significant other. And when we come back, we're going to talk about instilling forgiveness and these principles in your children and how to build strong, healthy children.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You will begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you are not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Kathy TYRO's own personal experience with incarceration. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You will be prepared to overcome the obstacles of your incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You'll be one of the honored, a man worth following.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Kathy TYRO. And today we're talking about forgiveness, which is one of the high five principles that we really detail and talk about in our book, High Five, Love Never Fails. And so we've talked today a little bit about what forgiveness means, what the definition of forgiveness is, and how you can operate in forgiveness in your personal relationships or your romantic relationships. Now we want to talk to you about the importance of instilling forgiveness and teaching your children about forgiveness and how important that is as you navigate through developing a new foundation and a new legacy for you and your family.
You know, I know firsthand, guys, the visits is a tough playground, man. It's a tough place to, you know what, the visiting room is like, it's supposed to be like a living room in your house. Or, so you got the visiting room, and I feel like I want to cry, because the living room, the visiting room is your kitchen table. You know, we get to experience a day when we have dinner with our kids now, and I see, they're grown men now. My sons are grown men and hardworking men, and they're healthy men. And I see my daughter and stuff, and we talk about forgiveness. You know, to this day, I still have to stop at moments and tell Blake and Brandon, I am so sorry your life was the way it was. You know, because I remember once when Blake taught me a lesson, you know, and he had a wake-up call in his life where he could either be bitter or be better, and allow this experience to make him a great man or make him a bitter man. And so he told me that he could be like, he said, Dad, I can be like bread left on a countertop. And you leave bread on a countertop, it becomes hard and brittle and really of no use anymore. And it just flakes away. Or Dad, I could be like butter left on a countertop, where I'm easily, you could spread me on the hardest toast, you can spread me over. And when I heard him say this, you know, it started quickening me and it checked me. You know, am I butter left on a countertop, or am I bread left on a countertop? Because bitter people, you know, misery loves company, man. And I met some miserable people in prison, and I knew I don't want to be like that. You know?
And it's so important that you talk to your children and you explain to them that life is hard for everybody. There's a measure of pain and a measure of joy in everyone's life. Because when we start thinking it's just, oh, poor me, I'm the only one that's ever been offended or hurt or abused or mistreated, then we become embittered and victimized. And your children are the forgotten victims because of your choices or because of the situation of you being in prison.
They were innocent victims. And when you can really get a hold of that and start to realize that they were innocent, and so now they're the problem by default, right? Because society doesn't want them. They're not invited to any of the games. The isolation that they're living, and you don't even know it because we're in the gates. We're in an environment where everybody's wearing the same clothes, so we're all basically on the same platform, right, and treated the same. There's sameness in prison. But out in the real world, you know what? There's the shunning, there's the ridicule, there's the judgments.
That's why it is so important that you ask them to forgive you. I mean, acknowledge what it is that's happening and tell them how sorry you are. And in doing that, you're teaching them to own up to their own mistakes and to ask forgiveness when they fall short. And you're teaching them also to forgive as you talk about the people that have wronged you and how you've been able to forgive them. It is probably one of the most important of the secrets that we learn to become successful as a family. And success as a family doesn't mean making a lot of money. It doesn't mean becoming prestigious. Success as a family means living in peace and in joy, even in the midst of hardship and trying times. And that's a choice and a decision that you have. And so you can create this new culture within your family, even from inside the gates.
You know, happiness is amazing. It's amazing. And when you truly embrace that, you do everything in your power to never let it go. When you feel it and you know it. You know, we look at society today and we see all the children that are hurting people. You know, my question has always been, where is Dad? Well, we know where Dad is. Dad's in prison. And so these children that are growing up without Dad being home, they're growing up angry and bitter and not knowing what to do because Dad is not there to raise them up to become men of honor. Well, dads, here's your opportunity. Here's your opportunity to do what's right. Write them letters. You know, continue to lift them up, encourage them, to tell them, look, tell their story. What are they going through? Right. You know?
Well, thank you for joining us today on TYRO TV, and thank you for letting us be part of your journey.
So always remember, until next time, we are rooting for you.
I am a man of honor.
I am a man of integrity.
I am a man of faith. I am the antidote.
I am a man of discipline. I am a leader.
I am strong.
I am a man worth following.
I am a TYRO.